When a man texts you these 3 words, he's not just talking. He's feeling. You see, men ain't always the best at expressing what's going on in their hearts. We're raised to be strong, to hold back, to act like we don't care. But when a man breaks through that wall and sends you a message that carries emotion, that's something real. Those 3 words might not even be, I love you. It could be something simple like, miss you already, you okay? Or, got you. But behind those words, there's a storm of emotion. When it comes to love, a lot of people think men are complicated, but truth is most of the time they're just misunderstood. When a man says something simple, there's usually a lot more behind it than what you see on the surface. That's why the real meaning behind a man's simple words matters so much. Men are not always raised to express their emotions openly. Society teaches them to be strong, to keep it together, to handle things without showing weakness. So when a man chooses to use words that carry emotional weight, even if they sound simple, it's not just a message, it's a breakthrough. Every man has his own language when it comes to love, and when he starts to use it, you can bet it means something deep is going on inside him. Think about it. Men don't waste words when it comes to emotions. They don't talk for the sake of talking. If a man says, I miss you, that's not just a passing comment. It's a quiet confession that you've crossed his mind more than once. If he says, you okay, it's not just checking in. It's his heart saying, I care about your peace. And when he says, I got you, he's telling you he's stepping up, he's there for you, and he's not going anywhere. Those words may sound ordinary, but they're powerful because of what they represent. Behind every simple phrase is a man who's fighting through his own walls to communicate what his actions might not fully show. See, men are doers by nature. They're taught that love is shown through what they do, not what they say. But when a man's emotions grow strong enough to spill out in words, you know he's at a point where he can't contain it anymore. That's when his words become honest, raw, and real. A man who doesn't feel anything will keep it cool, keep it distant, keep it casual. But when his heart starts to get involved, the tone of his messages changes, the timing changes, the effort changes. He starts saying little things that carry big meanings because that's the only way he knows how to let you know what's really happening inside him. Sometimes those simple words come out in moments you least expect. Maybe he's quiet most of the day, but at night he texts, can't stop thinking about you. That's not a line, it's vulnerability. It's his heart peeking through the armor. Men fear rejection, they fear being too open, and they fear giving their emotions to the wrong person. So when he finally lets those words out, understand that it's courage speaking. He's risking being misunderstood just to make sure you know what you mean to him. The beauty of a man's simple words lies in their authenticity. They don't need to be poetic or fancy. They just need to be real. When he says something short but sincere, it's because he means it. It's his way of saying, I'm here, even when he's miles away, And when he chooses to speak from his heart, it's not about impressing you, it's about connecting with you. Because deep down, a man who's truly into you doesn't want to play games. He wants to be understood. And those simple words, when they come from that place of honesty, are the purest expression of how much he truly cares. Men and women speak love in completely different languages. While women often express emotions through words, men tend to show theirs through actions. But when a man finally uses his words to express emotion, that's something special. How men express deep emotions is not always loud, poetic, or romantic like in movies. It's subtle, quiet, and sometimes even awkward. A man can feel deeply yet struggle to say it because expressing emotions feels like stepping into unfamiliar territory. He's been taught to be tough, to keep things inside, to not show too much vulnerability. So when a man sends a message or says something that carries emotional weight, it's because he's fighting through all those layers of pride, fear, and self-control just to let his heart speak for a moment. A man's emotions often live in the spaces between his words. When he texts, "You home yet?" he's not being nosy, he's showing concern. When he says, you good, he's making sure you're okay because your peace matters to him. When he says, "Wish you were here," that's not just a statement. It's him admitting that your presence brings him comfort. That's how men express emotion in simple, practical, real life ways. They won't always pour their hearts out in long paragraphs, but they'll drop small, meaningful lines that carry more truth than 1,000 love letters. You can tell a man's heart is in it when his words have weight even when they're few. When a man starts caring, his tone changes. He becomes protective with his words, careful with how he speaks to you, and intentional with what he says. You'll notice he doesn't just text for attention, he texts for connection. He's not trying to impress you. He's trying to understand you. Men express love differently, but when they do it genuinely, it comes out in their consistency. It's not always about the big gestures. It's about those quiet messages when no one's watching. That's how you know he's serious. A man who's emotionally connected will remember things you said, check in on things that matter to you, and say things that make you feel seen without you having to remind him. The truth is, when a man feels deeply for someone, it can scare him. He might pull back at times or act distant, not because he doesn't care, but because he's processing what he's feeling. Emotions can feel overwhelming for a man who's not used to expressing them. That's why the moments when he does open up are so powerful. Those small, honest words are the pieces of his emotional truth escaping through the cracks in his armor. If he tells you something personal or shares a thought he usually keeps hidden, that's his way of saying, "I trust you with my heart." That's not something men do lightly. So when a man texts you something short but full of meaning, don't overlook it. It may sound simple, but for him, it took courage to say, that's how men express deep emotions, through honesty that doesn't need decoration. And when he starts talking to you that way, when his words feel real and come from a place of care, you can be sure his feelings are no longer on the surface. They're rooted deep, right where love begins. When it comes to love, charm can get attention, but consistency wins hearts. A man can say all the right things. He can make promises. He can send sweet messages that sound perfect, but none of it means a thing if his actions don't line up with his words. That's where the real test begins. A man who's genuinely into you won't just talk about how he feels. He'll show it. He'll show it in the way he prioritizes you, in how he remembers small details, and in how he keeps showing up no matter what. Actions speak the truth that words can only try to say. You can tell everything about a man's heart by what he does when no one's watching, by how he treats you when there's nothing in it for him. A lot of people get caught up in charm because it feels good. Words can sweep you off your feet, but consistency keeps you grounded. Charm is temporary. It's designed to impress, but consistency, that's who a man really is, you see. Any man can be romantic for a week, but only a man who truly cares can be reliable for a lifetime. When a man is consistent, you don't have to question where you stand. He doesn't make you feel confused or anxious because his actions speak with clarity. You don't have to wonder if he means what he says because he proves it without having to repeat it. He'll make time even when he's busy. He'll keep promises even when it's inconvenient. That's the difference between interest and love. Interest fades when things get hard, but love shows up anyway. You'll know a man's feelings are real when his actions start to mirror his words. If he says, "I'll be there," and he actually is, that's not just dependability. It's love in motion. If he tells you he cares and he shows up when you're down, he's not performing, he's investing. His consistency becomes your comfort. You can feel his effort even when he's silent because his presence is steady, not seasonal. Real love doesn't come from perfect people. It comes from people who try every day to prove they care. When a man loves you deeply, his routine changes, his habits adjust. You become a part of his plans, not just his free time. He starts to build stability around you because his love isn't based on moments. It's based on meaning. The truth is, anyone can fall in love quickly, but only a consistent man stays in love intentionally. He doesn't rely on words to keep you. He relies on effort. He'll show up with care instead of excuses. He'll give reassurance instead of confusion. And even when things get tough, he won't disappear. His consistency is how he says, "I choose you," over and over again. So if a man's words are sweet but his actions don't match, it's just charm. But if his actions align every single time, then you found something real, because in the end, love isn't proven by what a man says. It's proven by what he does every day without needing to be reminded. There's a big difference between a man being interested in you and a man feeling a real connection with you. Interest is about curiosity, attraction, and excitement. It's what makes someone want to know you. But connection goes deeper. It's about understanding, emotional comfort, and trust. When a man is interested, he pays attention for the moment. When he's connected, he stays. You can always tell the difference by how he makes you feel when you're around him. Interest makes you wonder. Connection gives you peace. A man who's connected to you doesn't just want your body, your beauty, or your time. He wants your presence, your laughter, your peace of mind. That's how you know his heart is involved. When a man is only interested, everything feels fast. He wants your attention, your affection, your time, and your energy right away. He'll say the right things, send the right messages, and act like you're everything he's ever wanted. But when you look closer, it's all surface level. He might text you, but his words are generic. He might call, but only when it's convenient. There's excitement, but no depth. That's because interest fades when it's not fed by something real. Once the thrill wears off, so does his effort. But when a man feels a connection, he doesn't rush it. He moves with intention. He listens, remembers, and starts to care about things that matter to you, not just things that entertain him. A man who's connected to you will start to open up about himself. He'll let you into parts of his life that he doesn't show everyone else. He'll want you to know his dreams, his struggles, and his fears, not because he wants sympathy, but because he trusts you enough to be seen. That emotional transparency is what separates connection from interest. When a man lets you see the side of him that's not perfect, that's when he's emotionally invested. He's no longer trying to impress you. He's trying to be real with you. And real connection is built on that honesty. You'll notice that a man who feels a true connection will make you feel emotionally safe. You don't have to chase reassurance because his actions speak consistency. He's not disappearing and reappearing depending on his mood. He's steady. He makes you feel like you can be yourself because he's being himself too. That's when you start to feel like you're not just talking to someone. You're building something together. And that kind of energy doesn't come from interest. It comes from emotional alignment. When a man is connected to you, you'll feel it in how he communicates, the tone of his voice, the way he checks on you, the care in his messages. All of it carries warmth. He's not doing it for attention. He's doing it because he values you. And once a man feels that kind of connection, he won't look for it anywhere else. Because a man can be interested in many people, but he can only be truly connected to one. And when that connection happens, it's not temporary. It's something he protects, nurtures, and refuses to lose. When a man's heart is truly invested, you don't have to question it. You feel it in the way he moves, speaks, and shows up. Love isn't something a man says just to sound good. It's something that shows through his patterns. When a man's heart gets involved, everything about him starts to shift. He begins to think differently, act differently, and even plan differently. Suddenly, his choices start including you. His priorities start changing. He starts making space for you in his world without you even asking for it. That's when you know his love isn't temporary, it's rooted. A man who's emotionally invested doesn't treat you like an option. He treats you like part of his purpose. When a man's heart is in something, he pays attention. He listens not just to your words, but to your silence. He remembers the little things you mention in passing, the things that matter to you, even if you think they don't. You'll notice he starts anticipating your needs, checking in on you without being told, and making sure you feel secure. That's how an invested man operates. He's aware, present, and engaged. He's not trying to win you anymore. He's trying to understand you, because to a man who's deeply in love, understanding the woman he cares about becomes more important than impressing her. It's easy for a man to say, "I love you," but when his heart is truly involved, those words start to carry weight. He becomes more protective, not in a controlling way, but in a way that shows he values your peace. He'll want to see you happy, not just because it makes him feel good, but because your happiness becomes part of his. You'll see it in the way he shows up when the things get tough. He won't run when challenges come, and he won't disappear when life gets messy. A man whose heart is invested stays through the hard days because he's not looking for perfection. He's looking for partnership. The difference between a man who's interested and a man who's invested is effort that never stops. An invested man doesn't get comfortable and take you for granted once he has your attention. He keeps putting in effort because he knows love isn't a one-time win. It's a daily choice. He'll want to grow with you, not just flirt with you. He'll think about the future, not just the moment. And even when he doesn't say much, his actions will tell you everything. You won't have to chase validation because he'll make you feel chosen again and again. When a man's heart is truly invested, love becomes his language. His energy changes around you. His tone softens, his patience grows, and his priorities become clearer. You start to see the difference between someone who just likes you and someone who's building something real with you. And that kind of love, once it shows up, doesn't fade away, because when a man's heart has found a home in you, he'll do everything to protect it, nurture it, and keep it. That's when you know it's not just love anymore. It's commitment written all over his soul. The power of genuine love in a man's communication is something most people overlook. When a man truly loves you, his entire way of expressing himself changes. It's not about fancy words or dramatic declarations. It's about sincerity. His tone, his timing, his effort, and even his silence start to communicate love in ways words can't. You'll notice he starts speaking from a place of emotion instead of ego. He doesn't talk to win arguments. He talks to understand. He doesn't respond just to reply. He listens first. That's what genuine love does. It humbles a man, softens him, and makes him communicate with heart instead of pride.